Hey guys, what's up? Thanks so much for stopping by. As you can tell, we are going for real comfy, cozy vibes today. Made myself a nice warm cup of London Fog, have my cozy blanket. I'm already in pajamas. It's not even 6 p.m. Keegan and Landon went to go whack golf balls and I was just in a chatty mood. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down and talk to my internet friends. So last night I went down a deep rabbit hole. I randomly thought of a particular drugstore product that I loved in high school that has been discontinued for many years now. And from there, I somehow stumbled across a website called buymebeauty.com. I think they sell regular makeup, but then a lot of their makeup is comprised of just discontinued makeup products. I didn't purchase any of them because a lot of these products are like a decade old or more, and I just did not feel comfortable wasting the money on them when I wouldn't be able to put them on my face. So instead, I'm still just gonna sit down and chat about them because these are products that I just truly miss and just have great memories tied to. If you end up liking this video, I realize it's totally random, then feel free to let me know if you'd like to see a high-end version as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't think you could film any sort of video about this topic without talking about the Revlon lip butters. I'm just gonna briefly mention them. Sugar Plum, and then I took a picture of another one. I think it's called Pink Truffle, were some of my most worn. I absolutely adore those. Revlon recently released another type of lip balm product that is pretty similar. I still feel like it's a thinner consistency in comparison to the lip butters, but I'm not gonna talk about those too much because when you think discontinued drugstore makeup, I feel like that's the first product that pops into most people's minds. So we're gonna go ahead and move along. Sticking with Revlon though, the Revlon Just Bitten lip stains and balms. I had the shade Twilight. I was absolutely obsessed with it. It had a chubby felt tip marker tip on one side and the other side had a balm. It was just, I mean, maybe like an inch and a half long, opaque, chubby white balm, but it just went on clear just because the lip stain definitely was more of just a dry marker. So you had to go in with something on top. But I remember Twilight was just this really pretty, like deep, rich, kind of orange berry shade. I loved that one. And then of course the Revlon Super Lustrous lip glosses. If you guys caught my 2020 favorites, I actually mentioned another one of their glosses there, but now they come in cylinder tubes. Back in the day, they came in these cube tubes. And this shade here called Firecracker, I was absolutely obsessed with. It was kind of like a hot neon coral type of red orange, but then it had this really cool sort of opalescent type of shift to it. I also remember there was another, it may be called like Coral Craze or something like that. Anytime I see the word coral, in my head, all I can hear is Carl from Walking Dead. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? If you watched it, the way that Rick, like he'd say Carl, but it sounded like coral. Anytime I say coral, that's all I can see in my head. But Coral Craze, and then there was a nude one. I can't remember the name right now. One of you guys actually mentioned those in comments recently, talking about those super lustrous glosses. And then speaking of Revlon lip products, of course, the balm stains. The very first two shades I ever tried were Honey and then Rendezvous. It was kind of this like bright orangey type of shade. And I actually received both of them in the mail from Leanne Says. At the time, she was still living in Houston. I was living in Orlando. We had chatted back and forth. And I couldn't find them anywhere, and she found them at HEB and kindly sent them to me. I love them. Leanne was actually the very first friend I made once moving to Houston. I'm sad she doesn't live here anymore. Two other Revlon products that I wanted to quickly talk about. The Revlon Color Stay Aqua Mineral Makeup. I loved this powder. So it came with a built-in brush, but the brush was absolute garbage. So I would always just untwist it and kind of just dump some into the cap and go in with whatever kabuki brush I had at the time. There was a kabuki brush, was it the matte kabuki that everyone talked about? It was always on my wish list, but I just could never bite the bullet on it. But this powder is actually pretty much, I don't want to say identical because this one was better than the Becca Aqua powder that came out a few years ago. Whenever that first launched, everyone was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I've never seen anything like it. But I was like, no girl. Revlon did it years and years ago. So that used to be one of my holy grail powders. Actually, I used a lot of Revlon makeup. I used to love the Revlon Photo Ready Photo Focus foundation as well. Everyone had said that that was like a drugstore dupe of NARS Sheer Glow. That was before I had ever tried NARS Sheer Glow. And sadly, no, actually, I don't think Photo Ready, is that discontinued? There's Candid. I think they still make Photo Ready, don't they? You know what? I might go to Target tomorrow. If Photo Ready is still in stores, I'm gonna snatch a bottle of that because I'm just curious. Earl Grey with just a little bit of almond milk in the frother. I put a tiny bit of the Mexican vanilla bean paste and then one packet of stevia. So delicious. If you've ever caught one of my declutters whenever I go through my bronzer or my highlighter drawers and you've seen these before, these powders are older than Layden, my son, who is now 11. These are probably either 13 or 14 years old, but I will never get rid of these. So we have the Revlon Color Stay Mineral Finishing Powder. This one is in 20 Suntan Matte, and then this is their highlighter in 10 Bright. So at the time, I just didn't have like the extra money to be buying the MAC mineralized skin finishes, and just in the pan, it kind of reminded me of that baked veined type of powder. I haven't used these in forever, and there wasn't really like highlighter options back then. There was MAC Soft and Gentle, and that was really about it. Maybe like, was it Lightscapade or something like that? Besides that, there weren't other highlighters that people talked about. So I ended up purchasing these from the drugstore. I've actually gone through one whole one of these, and I think one of these as well. So these were backups. I don't use them anymore, but they just have so much sentimental value to me. I remember when I first found these at Walgreens or CVS, I lost my mind. I was so excited. I had never heard anyone talk about them. Revlon really should relaunch these because I think they would do great. The bronzer was, I mean, amazing. I loved it. It just blended in beautifully. It had that perfect warm tone to it. The highlighter, let me go ahead and swatch this guy for you. This is definitely more of like a pearly toned highlighter, but once you get it into the skin, it kind of gives the same vibe as the Laura Mercier highlight powder, like the Matte 01 highlighter. There's a little bit more of a pinkiness to it, but I mean, Revlon, seriously, you've been kind of lately. If you relaunch these, I think you would do a great job. Okay, next up, Maybelline Dream Matte Powder. Once again, I'm not quite sure. This line may still be sold, but I still wanted to mention it because this was my go-to powder all through high school. I used and abused that powder puff that came in it. When I think of, like, I can even picture just how dirty and crusty that, it wasn't even necessarily a puff. I just remember it was like kind of fuzzy and it had a satin layer on the top. I don't think I ever washed that. How I didn't have terrible skin, I do not know, but I just remember it came with like the clear lid on the top, you had the powder, then you open the bottom, there was the puff and the mirror. I went through, I mean, countless amounts of that powder. And then the Maybelline Mineral Power. Okay, I took a screenshot of the concealer. I don't think I don't remember ever using concealer in high school. It was a while till I ever used a concealer, but in that same line, the Mineral Loose Powder, that was another favorite. I think Maybelline was my main brand in high school. That as well as BONNEBELL bronzer that I'm about to share with you. I remember a few years ago, I actually stumbled across one at Big Lots and I totally would have purchased it if it wouldn't have been opened previously. Ugh. But I was really sad because that was the only one I was like, oh, I want it so bad just to try it, but not if somebody put their grubby fingers all up in it. Okay, so back to the, is it Bonnebell or BONNEBELL? I swear, like when I think of an old school, like 17 magazine from high school and middle school, I swear it used to say BONNEBELL, but they had this thing called Glimmer Bronze. It was a loose powder, I mean like metallic bronzer. At the time, I don't really think of matte bronzer was that in. It was just all about like glitter and sparkle and shine. I would go in with a kabuki brush and just buff that mess all over my cheek. I was obsessed with the tanning bed in high school. Me and all my friends had monthly memberships. We'd go like every day after school. We would buy a bottle of the tanning lotion and split it and share it, put on that tacky Playboy bunny sticker on your hip and have like that little tanning tattoo. Ew. When I think of that now, I'm just like, oh, why Dana? But yeah, Bonnebell Glimmer Bronzer, I mean, she never failed me. Speaking of Bonnebell slash BONNEBELL, do you guys remember Flip Shades? Okay, so there was the original core collection that was made up of both like matte shades, glossy shades. So it just had a normal kind of like long silver packaging, but then you had this slide mechanism on the side. So you would slide that up, the little flip cap would pop open, and then this skinny bullet lipstick would come in and out. I had like a pink shade and then a deeper mauve shade that I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is like so sassy. And I mean, it's probably a shade that I would love to wear now, but at that time, I remember it being kind of like risky for me, but I loved that color. And then they also had a totally different collection that was more like balms. They all came in, I want to say it was like either neon or pastel packaging. Even the actual bullets of them were like pink, orange, kind of sherbet colors. but they just went on clear and they smelled really good. Oh. But the product that started this whole rabbit hole, NYC Roller Gloss or Rollerball Lip Gloss. I've mentioned this numerous times on my channel, but Banana Berry, I will forever miss. I can still smell it. I loved watermelon. I think there was fruit punch, but Banana Berry was my go-to. This was basically, this sounds so terrible, but like lube for your lips. It was just so greasy, but smelled incredible. How it didn't break out my lips, I have no idea. But it was the glossiest clear lip gloss out there. I mean, I freaking loved it. Whenever ColourPop first launched their whole like roller gloss series, I got so excited, but maybe the NYC one was as greasy as this one, but I just didn't like this. I'm like, it's not what I remember. Maybe it's just the scent because Banana Berry was just the bee's knees. I freaking love that stuff. NYC Sunny Bronzer, their liquid eyeliner. What happened to that brand? That's so sad because that roller gloss was just amazing. Hands down, the NYC Rollerball Gloss and Hollister August Perfume. Those are two products that I think about so often and I'm just like, why? I need them back. Did any of you guys wear Hollister August? That was one of my, no, it was my second job. My very first job was actually working at a car dealership that my best friend's dad and uncle owned. We washed cars. It lasted for like a week or two and we're like, see ya. And then after that, I started working at Hollister where I would douse myself in August perfume while adding Incubus and Taking Back Sunday to their little touchscreen playlist. Man, those were the days. This product from MILANI, I couldn't find the exact shade on the Buy Me Beauty site, but I'm gonna go ahead and find another picture and post it for you. I wanna say that it was very similar to MAC Baby Sparks, but it was their 3D glitzy gloss. It kind of came in more of a like genie bottle looking tube. I know MILANI still makes glosses, but I haven't seen this gloss in years and years. But yeah, there was this kind of like pinky purple glittery shade. And I remember I bought it because one of my friends would always wear MAC Baby Sparks. And I was like, oh, I like that. But at the time, we actually didn't have a MAC. We didn't have a Sephora or a MAC for years and years and years. I grew up in a smaller town. We had the beach close by, but we didn't get the Destin Commons, which was like the big shopping area, until middle of high school, I think. That sounds right. Okay, another product from MILANI, the MILANI Runway Eyes 6-Pan Baked Eyeshadow. I had the one that was made up of like bronzy shades, and this was my dupe for Bobbi Brown Shimmer Bricks. I remember watching Elle and Blair Fowler, and they would always talk about these Bobbi Brown Shimmer Bricks. So I found this MILANI 6-Pan shadow, which the layout of it was actually really stupid. It was baked shadows, but they were like these raised little rows in this mini palette, and I would just swirl my brush on it and pretend it was my Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick in bronze. The L'Oreal Hip Eyeshadow Duos, my go-to shade was in Forgiving. You had a bronzy brown on one side and then this deep dark navy blue on the other. You can actually still purchase these on Amazon for like 10 bucks. The L'Oreal Hip Brilliant Shine Lip Glosses. I loved these. I think L'Oreal also had a line called Colored Juice, right? Something like that. That was in the same packaging. It actually looks a lot like the Lancome Juicy Tubes. Okay, just one more product from L'Oreal Hip, the Jelly Bombs. This was my drugstore dupe for what I imagined the MAC Tender Tones to be. I loved this product so much. There was even this deep dark plummy shade, but whenever you applied it on your lips, it was one of those colors almost like a even sheerer, more sheer version of like Clinique Black Honey, where it just gave you this really pretty kind of like rosy tone on your lips. I'm trying to remember what those smell like. All I can smell right now is a MAC Tender Tone, so yeah, I'm not too sure if they were like kind of vanilla-y like the MAC Tender Tones or not. And there you have it, some of my tried, true, and dearly missed discontinued drugstore makeup products. I would love to hear about some of yours down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sure some people were like, this is random and stupid, but I just got so excited about some of these products, and I figure if you guys are watching makeup videos, then you're probably an avid makeup lover as well. If you'd like to see more chatty videos like this, definitely just give this video a thumbs up so then I know. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day, night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.